When you know that you are queer, but your favorite drink is beer, that's gayish. You can bottom without stopping, but you can't stand going shopping, that's gayish. Oh, gayish, you're probably gayish. Well, life's just too short for narrow stereotypes, so it's gayish. We're also gayish. It's Gayish with Mike and Kyle.
Hello, everyone in the podcast universe. This is Gayish,
the podcast that's taking every dick everywhere all at once.
Oh, yeah. Remember when Jamie Lee Curtis had dick fingers? It was hilarious.
I still haven't seen it.
Oh, fuck.
So, no, I don't remember it at all.
Oh, she has dick fingers.
Okay.
They're not really dick fingers, but they are wieners.
Oh, why am I now more attracted to Jamie Lee Curtis? You tell me.
Yeah, I mean, she's always been delicious. I'm Mike Johnson.
I'm Kyle Getz.
We're here to bridge the gap between sexuality and actuality. And today, hold on.
Who?
We are live from Badger Lake near Cheney, Washington.
Live to tape.
Live to tape, yeah.
And yeah, we are on our, twice a year, we go hang out with our D&D group and, party down.
Yep.
And that's where we are now.
Yeah, my family has a lake house up here, and we came here this time for this, and I always have anxiety about, like, if people can tell that we're not in our element.
Oh, that things are weird. Yeah, I'm sitting on the edge of a bed. You're on a ottoman. This is not our typical setup. Derek is lost to the ether.
Yeah, poor guy.
Yeah. So, yeah, I wonder if you can hear it in our voices.
Yeah. We miss you, Derek.
We've got vacation voice. We're going to talk about gay leagues.
We're going to talk about gay leagues.
As in, like, sports leagues, rec leagues, that kind of thing.
Yep.
This was requested by Gap Bridger Yo Stossel, so thank you for encouraging us to talk about sports.
Yo!
Stossel. Thanks for encouraging us to talk about a sports thing that I don't know that we would have had we not. So there are some interesting things to go on, But first,
feedback and corrections.
Yeah.
One is just sort of a correction. I don't know. Apparently, so A.E. Coleman, who is a longtime listener and just a sweetheart.
Dare I say longtime friend?
Longtime friend, yeah. He left us a voicemail about how to actually pronounce the Gaelic version of whiskey.
Yeah.
Hey guys, this is A.E. from the Facebook group, your friendly neighborhood professor and nerd here to help with your most recent episode on whiskey. So I'm not a big whiskey drinker, but I did study the Irish language back in the day, of course. And I've gotten pretty rusty since, obviously, there's not a whole lot of people to practice with in Oklahoma, but I do remember how to say whiskey. So it's pronounced Ishka Baha. Ishka Baha. And yes, Mike is right about it being the water of life.
That was great. You could play as much of or as little of that as you want to, Kyle. The magic of editing.
Your acting was so good. That was great. I enjoyed hearing that because I just heard it. Yep. Good work.
And a little bit of feedback / kind of an announcement. Hey, Mike and Kyle, my name is Taylor Bradley. I'm a huge fan and avid listener of your podcast. I think it's amazing what you two are doing to normalize the discussion of gay culture in today's world, and I look forward to every new episode.
Oh, thanks.
Mike, I'm a fellow SIGEP and refounding father of the Arizona Beta chapter at the University of Arizona. I'm extra proud whenever I hear you mention our fraternity, and it is always a wonderful reminder that we are part of such a progressive institution of Greek life. My fiancé, Mitchell, and I are finally getting married in May after being engaged for 4 years and together for 7 years.
Finally, am I right, Mitchell?
Yeah.
Man, we've been waiting for so long.
We both love your podcast and make it a goal to listen in whenever we are driving together. We would be honored to have your gayish blessing as we finally celebrate our marriage in Las Vegas this coming May. Regardless, thank you for doing what you do, and please know that it makes a difference. Okay, here's the thing, Taylor. I think I'm going to have to meet Mitchell. And then decide whether I bless this union or not.
Yeah, we need more info. Yeah. We don't toss around our words lightly.
Yeah, we don't salad toss just anyone. No, congratulations, you two. That's fucking fantastic.
Are they #blessed?
Hashtag blessed.
So proud of you.
Yeah, we'll send you.
God, I sounded sarcastic. I didn't mean to. That's very exciting. Thank you for writing and listening. And I hope your marriage is wonderful and amazing and beautiful.
Great.
Did I sound less sarcastic there? Or still a tiny bit? Okay.
Here, I'll get us out of this. Here's the news.
No.
Oh.
No, you're not.
Oh,
no, I'm staying in this moment.
Son of a bitch. Okay.
Tree Fort is tomorrow if you're listening to this when it comes out on Thursday.
I know you're all in Idaho just anxiously awaiting us.
Or you just have an itching for a road trip. So, yeah, if you are in the area, come see us at in Boise at the Tree Fort Music Festival.
If you're actually itching, go see that. Go get it checked out.
Go see your doctor.
But if it's an existential itching to see us, you can.
It's the best Nine Inch Nails album, Existential Itching.
9 inches. Okay.
There are no 9 Inch Nails.
There are no 9 inch nails, Kyle. There are, though. I've seen them. Dicks, I mean. Okay, here's the news.
Shut your mouth hole. It's time for your ear holes. News.
I'd say it might be apparent as we keep going that we are not in our normal element.
Yeah, maybe so. Sometimes it's good to mix it up, Kyle.
Yeah.
Just get out of your
Like
comfort
cookie
zone.
dough. Mix it up.
Yeah. Stretch yourself. Ooh, that's gross.
No, I love it.
News the first. Conservative author Bethany Mandel was on a show called an online news show called The Hill Rising on Tuesday, promoting her new book, Stolen Youth. Host Brianna Joy Gray, in the course of the conversation, asked her to define woke. She could not do it.
Yeah.
She said, quote, "So, I mean, woke is sort of the idea that this is going to be one of those moments that goes viral." She knew she'd fucked up. She just absolutely could not say a single word about what it fucking means. She tried again and came up with, quote, "Woke is something that's very hard to define, and we've spent an entire chapter defining it. It is sort of the understanding that we need to totally reimagine and redo society in order to create hierarchies of oppression." Sorry, it's hard to explain in a 15-second soundbite, she finally said. She then went silent, hoping for a lifeline from one of the on-screen journalists, and the host said, "Please take your time."
Fuck yeah.
It's so great.
I can help define it. I mean, my definition is, hey, the privilege I hold, you calling me out on the privilege I hold makes me uncomfortable. That's woke.
I think it's gone even beyond that, Kyle. I think it's just anything I don't like.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, it's a catch-all dog whistle for just... They think you know it when you see it, and the reason they think you know it when you see it is because they
see it everywhere.
They see it everywhere, and it's just another way to other.
Yeah.
Anyway, woke is, especially in Florida, but throughout the entire country, being used to whip up a frothy manure. A santorum of hatred among the right, but particularly towards LGBTQ people, trans people, and drag queens for some reason. Who I did not have that on bingo, my bingo card for who would be attacked next. But here we are.
Yeah.
Here we are, and it's toxic now, right? And the Advocate says that, quote, "Republicans have made the term toxic, using it as a pejorative toward liberals and those whose worldview embraces people from many backgrounds."
Yeah.
Like that's a bad thing. USA Today did a poll, and they found that 56% of Americans believe that being woke is a positive thing. Even when using that politically charged word of woke, it's even higher if you ask things like, should we care about people who look different than us?
Yeah.
Is racism bad?
Yeah. Should we teach people about the history of our country? Yes or no? Like, yeah.
Anyway, I fucking hate them, Kyle.
Me too.
I fucking hate them.
And particularly the politicians. Like, there's just a small group of people that are really pushing this, that it's not even necessarily popular among Republicans. Like, it's not like this is what the majority wants. There's a small group that are like really targeting. Those are the people I hate the most.
Yep. Ron DeSantis, suck my dick.
Yeah, he can DeSantis my ass.
He doesn't deserve my dick.
Yeah, I just said something that I think might be positive.
Yeah. We'll workshop that for a little bit.
Yeah.
News the second.
Yeah.
So former Vice President Mike Pence made a misogynistic and homophobic joke toward Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg at a political dinner, and perhaps predictably, instead of apologizing, has doubled down on his comments. The annual dinner, which is hosted by the Gridiron Club, brings together Washington journalists and politicians. And traditionally, political speakers do, like, there is a roasty sort of nature to it, of good-natured jabs and jokes. This was on the 11th of March. And Pence said, and you have to remember that Pete Buttigieg, the transportation secretary, he took 2 months of paternity leave when his twins, he and his husband, Chasten, adopted twins. And the right lost their goddamn minds. Like, why is he off the job? Because they were premature and had health issues and were in the hospital.
In the NICU
and,
or hospital or whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, Mike Pence's joke, big old quotes around the word joke there. Quote, I mean, Pete Buttigieg is the only person in human history to have a child, and all the rest of us got postpartum depression. Okay, hot take. I kind of think that's funny.
I don't think I get it. He's the only one in history to have a baby?
No, he's the only one in history. It's postpartum depression. You have a baby and you get sad.
Yeah.
He said, but the difference here is he had a baby and I got sad.
Oh, okay.
He's the only person in human history to have a child, and all the rest of us got postpartum depression.
Gotcha.
Now, I understand there's a certain amount of like, who tells the joke? And are they punching down or are they punching up? And or at least sideways.
Yeah.
And there's some problems there. You know, when the cracker white former vice president with severe hatred towards LGBT people on record in the state of Indiana that he used to be governor of.
Yeah, the context of this, especially in a time when LGBT people are being so like attacked so heavily and like stripped of rights and stuff, like especially trans people, that it's just like it's not when you want to joke about that.
Well, the White House requested an apology, to which Pence said, well, this quote, well, the gridiron dinner is a roast, and I had a lot of jokes directed to me. I directed a lot of jokes to Republicans and Democrats. The only thing I can figure, Pete Buttigieg not only can't do his job, but he can't take a joke.
Wow.
Chasten Buttigieg, who's just fucking awesome, tweeted, quote, if your grandchild was born prematurely and placed on a ventilator at 2 months old, their tiny fingers wrapped around yours as the monitors beep in the background, where would you be? There is definitely I mean, conservatives are like not down with gay people having children at all. But then there's certainly a double standard when it comes to caring for those children. And it's, I don't know.
They still expect these like long, gone gender roles to stay in place where the man goes back to work and earns money and the woman stays home. Like they still have that expectation in mind. So for a man to take paternity leave on its own, they're probably like, well, that's not a man's role. Like they just have this like real shitty view of the gender roles, and then you throw in the gay thing, and that's a whole nother layer that they just can't get over.
Yeah, the gender gap in income has been explained to me by conservative people before to be a function of the fact that, well, she's the one having babies. Of course she's behind in her career. It's fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Mike Pence, and the fly that you rode in on.
The fly that rode in on you.
News the last. President Joe Biden welcomed Ireland's gay prime minister, known as the Taoiseach.
I hope that's his title.
Ireland's gay prime minister.
Ireland's gay prime minister.
Known as the Taoiseach, to the White House on St. Patrick's Day on Friday.
Are we going to get an AE
I
voicemail?
already got one. Somebody DM'd me about like you said Taoiseach wrong.
Oh,
so I'm leaning in.
Okay.
I think I did say it differently though. I think I said such instead of shuch. Anyway,
do like I do with Patreon and say it 5 different ways and one of them will catch.
Known as the Taoiseach, because that's how it's spelled.
Are you happy, fuckers?
We were supposed to get together with Ireland during the pandemic, and it was postponed. And anyway, so it was just a feel good session about like, yeah, a lot of Irish people live here, and Ireland being like, yeah, U.S., we're all white, we get it, but. It was also the 25th anniversary of the Good Friday Agreement, which that's the whole conflict about whether Northern Ireland would leave the UK and rejoin Ireland in unification. And the Protestants, the Catholics, and a bunch of shit blew up. It was real sad. Anyway, 25 years of peace in Northern Ireland. Anyway, but this is where it gets maybe racist. I'm not sure.
If it's maybe racist, it's racist for sure.
So this one says that the AP says that it's been a tradition since 1952. It's not just Joe Biden being vaguely racist, but he gave Taoiseach Leo Varadkar a bowl of shamrocks. apparently that's like a traditional, here's a bowl of shamrocks, like a salad. I don't understand.
Yeah, and ranch dressing.
And what the fuck is he supposed to do with that? Thank you for these shamrocks.
Thank you. This will be rotting in my office until it's like when I buy vegetables and it's like at some point you have to be like, no, this is going in the trash. I don't need this anymore.
I'm going to go feed my leprechauns. And then
they sprinkle it about the country and U.S. and freedom fighters grow from the ground.
He also gave him some water that had been dyed green from the South Lawn fountain. I don't get it. Anyway, they had breakfast and hung out, and it's St. Patrick's Day, y'all, or it was St. Patrick's Day, and apparently we just hit the Irish visitor with like all of the Irish stereotypes that we could muster in one visit.
Perfect.
That's it. That's the news.
That's the news. Well, speaking of mustard, I want to give these people the mustard that I don't know. Thank you to our following Patreon members, John Clemens.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Is it Mark Twain's great-great-grandson?
I don't know what that means.
Oh. Mark Twain's name was Samuel Clemens.
Oh, because it was his pen name. Yeah.
I'm avoiding the douche shots being done here, which people don't know what that means.
Nope.
Yeah.
There was someone who put their email as their name, and I'm not going to read your email, but hopefully C. Paul is enough for you to know who you are. And DNVR Cub, Denver Cub?
Denver Cub.
Are you Cub in Denver? Or does DNVR stand for something else that I don't know? Who knows? Thank you to all our Patreon members. If any of this so far has made you eager to hear more of us, then go to patreon.com/Gayish podcast.
Do it.
Do you want to talk about gay leagues?
Let's talk about gay leagues. Yo, Stossel.
Yo, Stossel. Suggest this if you are a gap bridger. After the first 3 months, you get to meet with us and we'll decide an episode topic together. And I think gay leagues, one of the things we want to talk about is, how have they changed over time and are they necessary and who belongs in them? I think these are all things we want to explore as we talk about this.
Yep, absolutely. And are they necessary? Are they good or bad?
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't either of us in one?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that first. How do you feel about gay sports, Kyle?
I mean, there's some homophobic jokes in there already. Like, those are two conflicting ideas. It's an oxymoron. But I actually joined a volleyball league briefly.
You did not.
Yeah, Trevor and I did that for a little bit.
Wow. Okay.
Back after I broke up with one of my exes.
Was it JC?
Yeah. I was like, was that one? Anyway, I don't care. It was like, I don't have friends. Like, how do I make friends? How do I meet people? And so, like...
that's when you got real needy.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Absolutely. But was it then, or I think it might have been a different time, actually. But anyway.
We were friends. We were hanging out.
Oh, yeah, we were. But I was like, I also, like, spent so much time with him. It was, like, my first real big relationship, and I kind of got lost in it and forgot that I need to have a separate life. And so when we broke up, I was like, what do I do? So it was not a gay thing that I joined. I joined one for normal people.
Oh.
And did that for a little bit. I thought I'd meet people that way. Didn't really. Yeah. But I was like just trying to put myself out. We met and like hung out with like a couple of dudes a couple times, but I don't know. It's one of those things like it's that I would want to do, but my anxiety goes up so high. But that's kind of the point, as a way to like have things to do, meet people, and a gay league would be a better avenue to try to do that.
Yeah.
What about you?
I mean, I definitely have. I've never done it before. First, I'll just start with that. And but I have considered it several times, and in a like maybe that's a way to meet people kind of way. I have lots of friends that are in gay sports, especially gay dodgeball.
Yeah.
Because there's all kinds of leagues in Seattle. We're going to talk about that more, in as we get into the episode. But it just seems like a really great way to meet people. They're all friends doing a thing, and they see each other with regularity, and there's camaraderie, and it's not just getting fucked up at the bar, but
that seems to be part of it.
But then that's also part of it. That's where I was going with this. Is that like I would be even more of an alcoholic if I was a member of any of those gay sports leagues, because they all practice and then they go to the bar and then they have their game and then they go to the bar, and you don't have to. There's obviously like they're adults and can decide, but I'm a little afraid of what it would do to my liver.
Yeah, I mean, so many of them that I looked at, like I looked at a bunch of just, whether it was local or national like organizations, and the sponsors are always some kind of like nightclub or gay venue, some kind of alcohol, probably some kind of lube. Like, all of those tend to be like the sponsors. So I also, one of my fears is that gays are already kind of judgy and cliquey, but that it would be extra cliquey. That they have a team of people that they always it's these same people, and that any new person would be really difficult to like break in and become friends with them. That's, I don't, I've never done it, so that's all just my own fears and anxieties about entering into a new group, but that I just worry about them being extra cliquey.
Well, and like gay softball anyway in Seattle, don't at me everybody, I don't really know how it works, but there's like there's different levels of like goodness of teams. And you have to try out, and you get a letter grade, and that's like
oh my God,
how good you are and which kind of team you're allowed to join.
Can I just assign myself an F and move on with it? Like, do I like?
Well, and I forget if F is better than E or worse than E, but like I know that there's like D teams and E teams, and I think F teams is what we're doing right now. Not playing softball. And there's a big long history of gay softball in Seattle to talk about. But I'm going to talk to you about the history of gay sports leagues. So as near as I can tell, Kyle, we have Stonewall to thank, because it's really the late 60s and early 70s that we start seeing stories of organized sports for homosexuals. And the very, very earliest seems to be softball. Softball and baseball teams really got rolling first. And it grows out of these actually, let me back up. All of this is about gay men. Lesbians have their whole like other history that I don't know that I can really speak to that well, or nor should I maybe. But lesbians sort of co-opted straight softball. So it never became lesbian softball. It's just softball became lesbian.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
co-opted sounds like a little judgy. Is it like they were always part of the softball was always a little bit lesbian?
Yeah, like League of Their Own has is based on the actual real women's ball leagues in World War II, and there's a whole saga about a couple of players that were in a relationship, and there's more or less, I think, a tendency for straight women to be okay with gay women than straight men are with gay men. So anyway, just talking about just gay men. The ladies. The first softball league specifically to ladies was the Haveners in Toronto. They had the ladies softball league in the 1960s, so they got started even a little bit earlier. And then there's Big Apple softball in New York that's been around since 1977. Anyway, the Greater Los Angeles Softball Association says that gay softball started in the late 60s and 70s. There were gay teams that started forming in various cities around the country, and they were trying to play in the normal leagues that had already been set up by straight dudes in those cities. And then they encountered, understandably, difficulties in playing with these straight teams.
Because sports are, I mean, we didn't mention, sports are all kind of homophobic already. Like that, we have so many people that are out, but like in sports, it's kind of this desert wasteland of people not coming out. So there's that makes sense to me that there was that in trying to play sports, that you would try to play sports on the regular leagues that already exist, and then you're like, fuck, maybe not, maybe I won't do this.
Yep. So in 1977, a San Francisco business owner invited New York City to send a team to San Francisco. It was a big, let's do a gay bar cross-promotional bi-coastal thing. And so the Badlands team, which was the Community Softball League of San Francisco's gay men, and they played against a team that was made up of various New York gay teams, like an all-star team. The New York Badlands, the Eagles, the Nest, and the Nickel were all bars that chose players and put together a team and sent them out. And that was the Big Apple League in New York. So San Francisco won, and
go San Francisco,
and then decided to call that the first gay softball World Series. and that has stuck. So as far as like national gay competitive league-based sports are concerned, that seems to be like the granddaddy of them all in 1977. Other sports got on the train pretty quickly though, like the International Gay Rugby Association started in the early 80s.
Ooh, hot.
The International Gay Bowling Organization also got started fairly early. International Gay Rugby started forming in the 1980s, but didn't actually officially start until 1995. The International Gay Bowling Organization started in 1980, and they claim to be the largest LGBTQIA plus sports association anywhere. Apparently, faggots love bowling, Kyle.
Why is it? Because does it take that much athleticism?
I guess so.
Yo told us that like sometimes if you didn't want to out yourself, someone would ask the International Gay. Is that what an International Gay Bowling Organization? Is that IGBO?
Yep.
So someone would say, "I go bowling often," instead of outing themselves, which I think is both very funny and very depressing that you might choose to do that instead of outing yourself.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I love it. I love me a secret code.
Yeah.
Let's see, and they've had an annual tournament since 1981.
Do you like bowling?
I like to bowl. My ex-wife and I bowled in a league for
Really?
a while. Yeah, and maybe that's where my fears of like becoming an alcoholic are, because we would go on like Tuesday or Wednesday night or whatever it was out to the West Seattle Bowl, and I would just get fucked up playing bowling.
Did your game get better or worse as you drank?
It's the curve is better. Like drinks 1, 2, and 3 get better and better and better, and then it's diminishing returns after that.
Just like podcasting.
Just like podcasting.
Yeah.
Yep.
My first couple drinks, I'm like loose, I'm ready, I'm excited, I have ideas, and then it goes downhill. I hate bowling.
You hate
I
it?
think it is the most uncomfortable thing to do with a group of people, because after you bowl, you turn around, and no matter what you did, whether you missed and fucked up real bad or got a strike, when you turn around, what do? This is like the social anxiety, the discomfort of what do I do with my face? Do I walk by and talk to me? Do we just all pretend like that didn't happen?
Yeah.
That is the most uncomfortable walk, barring the walk home I did from my neighbors.
Okay, so next time, just decide after every ball, you're going to turn around, grab your dick, and flip them off with the other hand. Just
and
every
then say,
time.
"Game's on, bitches."
Even if you guttered,
Yeah.
still. Like,
that would be fucking hilarious if I gutterballed it, turned around, flipped everyone off, and said, "Fuck you, I'm winning," and then sat down and pretended like nothing, like chugged a beer and then sat down like nothing happened.
I'm playing golf rules. You
Oh
bitches.
yeah, I'm a whole nother level, and that level is a very low score.
Oh God. Yeah. So moving on.
Sure.
Moving forward. There is a sort of, I have mixed feelings about this, Kyle, and I'm interested in your feedback. The gay softball culture in San Francisco went through a whole period in the early to mid 70s where they were playing against the San Francisco Police Department in an annual game.
That's interesting.
So it got big enough that in 1975, in the slow pitch softball exhibition between the Police All-Stars and the Pendulum Pirates, more than 5,000 people turned out to Margaret Haywood Field, which is just a few blocks from City Hall. This was the third annual charity game between the San Francisco Police Department and the championship team from the gay community. And it was apparently, even though there were already huge problems between the police and gay people, this is just on the heels of Stonewall, which was 1969. It was sort of I don't know, let's build a bridge. Let's look past our differences or whatever. But and Dianne Feinstein, now Senator Feinstein, apparently was at this game. But what really made that fall apart, it was like building and building and building to be this huge ass thing, was when Harvey Milk got shot, gay people rioted, and then the police broke it off and they said, we can't play baseball with rioters. And they put a stop to what had been this sort of fellowship and goodwill olive branch thing that the gay community was doing.
That feels like when your shitty boyfriend breaks up with you and you're like, no, I break up with you. No, you're not allowed to break up with me because I break up with you. Like it feels like the same kind of thing.
Yep. The cops, in 1979, the cops said, quote, "There's no way I'd play against those guys after what happened." that was the consensus among cops who were asked if they'd appear this year in what had become an annual event. So we started playing with firefighters instead. So
good call, fellas. We made the right choice. I do wonder, like, in playing, I understand that kind of wanting to normal, like, by doing a recreational thing like that together, then you are like, hey, we are regular people that just they'll see us hanging out, just being regular dudes too, and like that could help. But I don't know anything about this, obviously, gayish. But I would imagine that benefiting gay white men mostly. Like,
Sure.
I would imagine that being the bridge you could build, because black people and people of color still have particularly hard time with cops. So like, I would think it'd be the gay white men that would be like, no, I'm normal. Like, treat me better.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I totally agree. And there's also an interesting story that I only kind of looked into, gayish, of there was a bowling league, a gay bowling league that was trying to get started in Cincinnati, Ohio in the late 70s. And they got kicked out of a bunch of bowling alleys. They didn't ask permission. They just rolled in there and had their gay-ass bowling tournaments. And so they finally found a bowling alley that would accept a queer league, and it was 1980, and it was Mergard's, which was a black-owned bowling alley in Walnut Hills. So, like, people of color they understand differences, and they understand, the struggle and
like getting kicked out for your identity. And
yeah. So at least at that time in this place, there was a like, hey, let's help each other out kind of a thing happening.
Yeah.
And we forget that all the time, that like people of color, like, we're such a huge part of so many important parts of queer history, and it's been whitewashed.
Yeah. Or then as white people in that group start earning more rights, then they're like, yeah, but do we care about you anymore? Like, they just start getting rights and then kind of run away instead of helping everyone else.
Yep. Okay, so the Gay Olympics. We have to talk about the Gay Olympics.
Oh, yeah. I know a little bit. I did read a little bit about this, and it's, boy, it's gay because there's some drama.
Yeah, there's definitely some drama. So LGBT focused leagues and events, we got enough different sports going on, organized enough, and enough cities participating from afar that we started putting together the Gay Olympics. So it started in San Francisco in 1982. It was an Olympic decathlete named Tom Waddle and another person named Brenda Young and other people, but they wanted to make the gay version of the Olympics, right? They had a flame that was lit at the opening ceremony.
The flamer was just a dude standing like and wiggling around.
Yep.
I'm a flame.
Oh God. And that it would happen every 4 years, just like the Olympics would. There's a bunch of drama there, but the part that I really want to touch on is just that then the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, sued them and said, you cannot call yourself the Olympics. We are the Olympics. No. And that lawsuit was filed less than 3 weeks before the first Gay Olympics in 1982.
Oh, wow.
And so volunteers had to stop selling buttons and T-shirts so that they could remove Olympics or Olympic or Olympiad from their medals, souvenirs, T-shirts, signs, programs. It was estimated to cost the organization between $15,000 and $30,000.
Wow. I'm just imagining like the news getting like the one gay that was in charge of the buttons and someone telling them and him being like, reprint the buttons. I can't reprint the buttons. I already got all the buttons. Yeah. The button's already done. It's a done deal. We can't redo the buttons. Like I just picture button guy freaking the fuck out.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Just having a gay hissy fit.
Yeah. Hell hath no fury like an inconvenienced twink. Right? Like,
yeah.
Not my joke, but I don't remember where it came from. Let's see. So the IOC sued under the U.S. Amateur Sports Act of 1978, which gave the USOC, the United States Olympic Committee, exclusive rights to the word Olympic in the United States. And in our defense, we tried to say that, you didn't sue the Special Olympics. You didn't sue the California Police Olympics. You're just choosing us because it's gay.
Yeah.
But that went all the way up to the Supreme Court. And
damn.
Yeah, the Supreme Court ruled for the USOC in San Francisco Arts and Athletics Incorporated versus the United States Olympic Committee. So now it's just the gay games, which it's the gay Olympics. Like it's every 4 years. There's a fuck ton of different, events that people can participate in. The original set was basketball, billiards, bowling, boxing, cycling, golf, the marathon, physique, which that was on, powerlifting, soccer, softball, swimming and diving, tennis, track and field, volleyball, and wrestling. And just like the real Olympics, events have been added and removed since then.
And I actually did look on the Olympics site, and they do claim that some of their policies have then been adopted by other sports organizations, including the Olympics, for things like the trans inclusion policy or other things. So they do kind of claim that some of the things they are doing are leading the way for the Olympics to follow.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the big, giant middle finger fuck yous happened in 1994 when the gay games in New York City overtook the real Olympics in size.
Oh,
there were 10,864 athletes at that gay games, and the real Olympics only had 9,000 and some change, or 10,000 and some change at the 1996 Atlanta Olympics.
Did you read? There was other drama too.
Yeah. Well, the schism between them and the Canadian one, and are they going to merge back together or not? Now there's out sports and gay games. More. Say some things.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Montreal was supposed to host it, and then they got in a fight with the gay games over certain policies or guarantees of attendance or something like that. And so they were like, okay, we're not doing it in Montreal this year, and they were like, we are. Yeah. And then that started the schism between these groups that then both continued on.
Yeah.
And that's why you basically.
Oh, I forgot to talk about NAGAY.
What's NAGAY?
The North American Gay Amateur Athletic Alliance. NAGAY. If you wanted to join gay dodgeball or gay, bowling, gay, whatever, that's a national organization that has really done a lot of organizing work in that department. But NAGAY softball is sort of their bread and butter.
Should I tell you about some Gayda?
Let's hit some Gayda, Kyle. Save me from this historical morass.
Wow.
More ass.
So there was one study that I found that was about people's view, both in sports and out of sports, of gay people. So the study is called The Recreational Sport Participation Attitudes Towards Lesbian and Gay Men, an exploratory study of participation, religion, socioeconomic status, and sexual identity.
That was just a bunch of nouns.
This guy had a title word count he needed to hit, and he got there. Austin R. Anderson, was published in the Recreational Sports Journal in 2017. So part of this is studying all of these various aspects of people, whether they play sports, their religion, all of those nouns that I mentioned, and see how they feel about gay men and lesbians. Again,
it's just lesbian atheists win, right? Is that
what do they win?
Everything.
What do they win?
Whatever they put their minds to.
Yeah, lesbian atheists can do anything they want to my body. There is, I didn't know this, and it's one of those annoying things that in the academic world, you need something to help measure how people feel about gay people and lesbians and other people. Again, it's so laser focused. All studies tend to be focused on those two groups.
So not just a ruler then. It's some other way of measuring.
Some other way of measuring other than a ruler. There is something called the Attitudes Towards Lesbian and Gay Men Scale, or Attitudes Towards Lesbians, ATL, Attitudes Towards Gay Men, ATG. This is a thing that was created and studies use and or adopt to fit their study, and it's this list of questions that you rank on a scale, maybe 1 to 5, 1 to 7, of how strongly you believe. And so it's one of those things that I hate that exists, and also you need that.
Yeah.
And I tried to find it. I looked up some of the questions, rate on the scale of how much you believe it. Lesbians just can't fit into our society. You have to rate that belief.
On a scale of what to what?
It depends on the person doing the thing. But let's say on a scale of 1 to 7, how much do you believe that? Isn't that another one that I wrote down? The idea of male homosexual marriages seems ridiculous to me. You have to do the entire concept of this is just it feels so icky to me
Cringy,
that it
yeah.
exists. Yeah. It's one of those things that's like, we don't need straight pride because no one's ever done a research study to see if people are accepting of straights. Like there is no attitudes towards straight people thing that needs to exist. So we can study if people think that lesbians are okay. You know, like you don't need that because that's not a belief.
Yeah. Reverse racism isn't real, everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
Like, people can have racist ideas about white people, but like capital R racism is a white people thing.
Yes, there is no systemic working against white people or straight people. Anyway, so that's how they measured how people feel about it. Here are the results. This was university students, like maybe 450 or something university students that they looked at.
Great.
Recreational sports participants as compared to non-recreational sports participants. What would you think the difference is in their attitudes towards gay and lesbian people?
Okay, so recreational sports participants, I assume, are straight gym bros that are afraid of and hate gay people. That's
yeah. That was my assumption too. And like I said, like we do see in sports tend to be a more homophobic area as viewed by the fact that less and less people
despite
come out
the
there.
pants.
Despite all odds against it, despite the locker room, the outfits, the cute coordinated outfits, like all of that, they did not find any statistical difference in the attitudes of these two groups, which was surprising to me.
Everyone sucks equally.
Everyone fucking hates us, but on the same level. No, it didn't say the level, but like that I was surprised by that because I had the same expectation. I wonder if there's some kind of, it did find there was a small number of gay people that participated in these recreational sports leagues. I wonder if part of it is it's being canceled out by when you play on a league with someone else, now I get to know them and that normalizes their identity a little bit. I wonder if that helps even some of this out.
Yeah, maybe. We know the importance of exposure.
Yep.
Like visibility.
Yep.
Showing your dick off.
That literally in my mind, all I could picture was someone flashing their dick the way you were saying that. But so there are a small number of openly gay men and lesbians participating in recreational sports leagues. And one of the findings, one of the like implications that the study discussed, so this is, starts to get into their opinion or interpretation of these findings. It said, given this participation, the level of homophobia that may exist in the environment itself should be of concern to recreational managers. Okay. Which I didn't, that's something that sounds nice at first, like, oh, given our participation, we should worry about the homophobia. You should worry about it no matter what. You should not have to have gay people in participation to be concerned that about homophobic attitudes.
Okay.
And in fact, if you don't see anyone that's out in a group, you should be maybe even more worried about homophobic attitudes because someone there's gay. Like, yeah. So, look around, someone's gay. So like they are probably just not coming out because like they can't because everyone's being so homophobic. So I didn't really like that finding.
Republicans aren't Nazis, but the Nazis sure think they are.
Yeah. Exactly. Another, household income was not a factor in how people viewed gays.
That surprises me too.
What would you think?
That money is a function of education and therefore exposure to other ideas and acceptance of people who are different than you. Which
other studies I think have shown that. So that was a different kind of thing result. The last thing is that this research suggests, and I'll just read the quote because I don't want to get in trouble. The research study suggests, quote, higher levels of heterosexism when recreational sports participants identify with particular religious affiliations.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Which, surprise, people that are religious, a little more homophobic, like, because their religion teaches them to be. Not surprising to me.
Yep, absolutely.
That's the data.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What was the most surprising to you?
Man, that the findings were very readable and digestible.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't a super long study, so I could read a decent amount of it. That surprised me. Sometimes you like this 30-page PDF, like, oh boy, am I doing this? But this one was like it was like a 15 with like a couple pages of bibliography, so that didn't count. It was doable.
Wow.
Yeah, just like me, very doable.
Yeah, scientists do better.
No. Oh. Keep it at that. Keep it at tight 4 pages or something. That would be great for me.
Sorry, that's what I'm saying. Scientists do this more.
Yes. Scientists keep it tight.
Keep it tight. Keep it right.
Keep it tight. Keep it right with your studies all night. What's up, Mike?
Oh God. Okay.
How's this going?
I think it's fine.
Okay, great.
We can blame Yo.
Yeah, yo.
Okay. I'm going to talk to you about the Seattle Gay Softball World Series of 2008 and the drama.
Okay.
Okay, so this is all coming from The Stranger, which is our local alternative newspaper in Seattle, from an April of 2011 article. And so basically, the Gay Softball World Series was in Seattle, and nearly 200 gay softball teams from all across the United States and Canada came to town.
200 teams?
Yeah.
That's a fuck ton.
Yeah. Yeah.
This shit is popular. We are like not part of this, but it is huge.
Yeah. So for the Seattle World Series, the San Francisco Gay Softball Association, which is one of the oldest clubs in the country, sent a team called D2. And they'd been together for a while, but the best that they'd ever done was place fourth. And so the coach, LaRon Charles, decided that in order to win, they would need to push themselves, quote, harder than we ever had. So then the night before the championship game, there were rumors that started swirling around, and the accusation was D2 has too many straight guys. So people were pissed, like, this is gay softball, and the rumors started picking up that D2 had whatever too many meant. I mean, I would argue one, but like whatever whatever too many meant, they had too many. So I talked about NAGAY earlier, the North American Gay Amateur Athletic Alliance, and it put on the Gay Softball World Series and started it, but they had early on, they said that straight people weren't allowed on the field at all, period.
Wow.
And they had backed off on that in 1993. NAGAY Commissioner Roy Milani said, quote, now that we have advocates in the straight community and family members, whether it be sons or parents who want to play, we need to change the rule. So they changed the rule so that 2 straight players per team were allowed during the Gay Softball World Series. So,
and I'm assuming we're using straight as like a proxy for like non-LGBT, which is usually how like non-cishet, or cishet people.
Well, this is one of those things of like, this is a little over 10 years ago that this article was written. I don't know that we were paying attention to that kind of thing at that time. Like straight and gay seemed more like less blurry than it does now.
Yeah.
You know, there is some more on that here
okay.
in just a little bit. So first, part of what I want to come out of this conversation is this idea of whether gay leagues are necessary, important, useful, etc. And this guy, Milani, the coach of the Portland team, said currently would be 2010, quote, the amount of slurs and the amount of abuse that we take in Portland, Oregon is amazing. Last year, we arrived to play against another team, a straight team, and the umpire says, oh, here come the cross-dressers. On the field, opposing players called out faggot, you throw like a girl, and he said with a smile, meanwhile, we beat the shit out of these guys.
Damn, ultimate flex.
He went on, there was one time a few years ago where we split a doubleheader with a straight team. They were ready to take baseball bats and come to blows because we were gay. Mind you, my team was not out there hugging and kissing everybody. That was not what we were doing. We were playing softball, and we were beating them, and that was a problem for them.
It's like if you're upset because your masculinity is threatened because you're losing to a gay person, you got an easy insult that you can lob out there.
Yep, absolutely. And like men are kind of terrible that way, right? Like there's a lot of toxic masculinity that says to lose, to not crush your opponents is an affront to your masculinity. Yep. Even more so if it's somebody who sucks dick.
Yep, exactly.
Right?
Yeah. They think they are better than anyone who takes a dick. Like they should beat anyone who takes dick. Like that's their view.
So back to the World Series, in the Seattle World Series in 2008. Because of these accusations, they brought in 3 players from that team and subjected them to questioning before a tribunal.
To figure out how gay they were?
Yes.
What?
They alleged that they were asked about their sexuality in an attempt to determine whether they should be disqualified or count towards the maximum number of straight people allowed under the rules.
They didn't just trust, like, state your identity and we will trust that. They had to question them.
Correct.
Wow. I wonder, oh my God, that would be like a hotbed of like stereotypes that we could use for this show. We could do episodes on all of their questions, I bet. Like, because what things do you ask them about to like figure out if they're really gay or how gay they are, if they pass the gay test?
Yep. Well, the tribunal apparently was held in a small conference room inside a complex at the park. One by one, their teammates were brought before a panel composed of leaders in the National Gay Softball Association. Accounts differ what happened, but apparently more than 25 people were crowded into the small hearing room, and it felt like a circus. And then, according to one of the plaintiffs, people inside the hearing room were texting private information to people outside while questioning was taking place. When I came out of the hearing room, people I didn't even know were making comments about my marriage and other things we said in the hearing. He is married to a woman. But then, this is super interesting to me. One of the people that was accused identifies as bisexual.
Right. That's what I was thinking. Like, you can be married to a woman and still be LGBT. Yeah.
Someone on the protest committee read me Nagay's definition of heterosexual, and I was asked whether it defined me, and I said yes. Then someone read me the definition of homosexual, and I was asked whether that definition defined me, and I said yes to that question too.
Bisexuals, like, yeah.
Because it was about conduct, right? It was about like, do you fuck ladies? Do you fuck dudes? And that's as far as they got. And so, like, bisexual people would have to answer yes to both questions. What do you do with that?
Yeah.
There were also a bunch of accusations of racism. Like all three of these men that got part of this circus were men of color. And one of them said that one of the people in the tribunal said, quote, "This is the gay World Series, not the bisexual World Series."
Whoa, God.
They took multiple votes, and on the quote, "On the final vote, I was voted to be not gay."
What the fuck?
Yeah.
I guess if you're bisexual, yeah. I mean, maybe, yeah. But that sucks. This wow.
Yep.
This is not a bright spot in our history.
Another player just refused to answer any of the questions.
Good.
I didn't want them getting into my personal business.
Yeah.
He was also ruled not gay. And then another player who was not a plaintiff in the lawsuit was questioned by the tribunal and refused to answer. He was ruled gay, and he was white.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. All but one of the protest committee members were white. Anyway, so drama. There's more drama here, but it went all the way up to U.S. District Court. And the question that they're asking is whether the Gay Softball World Series counts as a public accommodation. You cannot discriminate, especially in the state of Washington, against people on the basis of race or sexual orientation in a public accommodation, like selling cake. And it's just fascinating to me, this idea of like, we need to have a straight witch hunt.
Yeah.
Over baseball or softball.
And the idea that like saying like, no, this is gay, not the bisexual, like gay is also has been used as an umbrella term to mean all LGBT people in the past as well. So like, come on now.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. It's super interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, apparently we can be pretty terrible to each other.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
That being said, I kind of get it. Like, that's a horrible implementation of what I think I support.
Which is?
Straight guys have other shit to do. There should be, like, there's got to be a better way to do it. Like, maybe just ask people, hey, how do you identify? And a cap on cishet dudes, I think is okay. Like, I think it's still needed. And, like, I don't know. I don't know.
Can I tell you just things I read about a couple like current leagues?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I think that was one of the things I was really interested in is what do they say about who is part of this? So the Sin City Classic, which we had a friend actually participate in, a multi-day, multi-sport festival that calls itself, quote, largest annual LGBTQ plus sporting event in the world, which that seems weird given the gay games are a thing. I don't know, but that's what they say. They work with 20 leagues. They're a nonprofit organization.
Yeah, I've known several people that have been.
Really?
Yeah.
That one actually, I didn't write down what they say about. Maybe they didn't say anything about like who participates. So I don't know why that just was a big one. There's Stonewall Sports, which is a national, mainly on the East Coast, but nonprofit that is a collection of 8 different sports, and they put on their site, "We welcome everyone."
Okay.
The
Implication?
Thank you. Jesus fucking Christ.
Great.
The implication being including straight people. There is the North American Gay Amateur Athletic Alliance.
Gay.
For softball, they say everyone, regardless of age, sexual orientation, or preference. Although on their website they do say that this organization is quote comprised of men and women, like, and then they keep talking. So like maybe they just haven't updated their language to be more non-binary inclusive. That struck me in particular, but it seemed like a decent number of like Out Loud Sports. They said, "We welcome." They said they called themselves the nation's original queer plus recreational sports league, and they said they welcome LGBTQIA plus and allied athletes. Like a lot of people, the Pride Sports USA said they include allies. Like, I don't. There are so many of these that obviously I only looked at these handful of. It seemed like big national organizations, but so many of them went out of their way to include allies in this. That seems to be what I've seen in all the places that I looked.
Yeah. We're going through. Speaking of the fraternity, God, I didn't expect that to come up twice in the same episode. Right now, the fraternity Sigma Phi Epsilon, we're one of the largest fraternities in the country, and there are well over 1,000 of us who are gay who belong to this secret Facebook group, and right now, some of us are trying to formally organize as a entity within the fraternity. We're gonna like take the Chicago Society, which is the name of the or Bromos is the other name for the group, and
Nice.
and get a formal structure going and elect officers and raise money and do some cool shit. And one of the questions we're wrestling with right now is whether to involve allies and in what way to involve allies, because some of it is like, if we're just going to invite allies, then how's that different than the fraternity,
Right.
in general?
But it is different, and it is different having an LGBT plus ally space versus just a space for like.
So then the other side of that coin, though, is then what about the safety to just be gay with gay people, right? Like when we get the gay fraternity brothers around, and then a straight one, even who's an ally, shows up, the conversation changes, the tone changes, people's attitudes. We butch up and we talk about dicks and butts less, and we go out of our way to like not touch each other, and Is there still utility? Is there still a justifiable utility in saying, no, fucking straight people, stay over there. We're going to be over here. We can do ally stuff later. Thank you for your support, but fucking go away.
The one thing that makes me compelled to say ally, like it's important to include allies, is you may not be out, and calling yourself an ally may be a way to be involved in a safe way and explore it.
This has come up too. Absolutely. Yeah.
I think that's super useful. If in order to join, you have to out yourself, or maybe like you may not even be out to yourself, and you don't know why you're compelled to join this group, but or maybe you're just a super passionate ally, or like there's also, I think also compelling. That one I think is the most compelling. But like you mentioned in your story, like there's parents. There's like, what if you're married to someone who's bisexual but you're straight? Like I think there are a lot of people that like your brother. What if your brothers want to join because like gay issues are really important to them because they're your brothers? Like there are a lot of people for which I think gay issues are really important to them in spite of not being one. So,
but back to my brothers. If they're down to go to Diesel and look at dicks on the TV screens, that's great.
Yeah.
But we're not going to tone down the gayness because you're around.
Yeah.
But there's some people that can't. They don't have the confidence to do that.
And maybe this helps build. Maybe this would be a good place to help build that confidence. Like, is it the straight people's fault that you all are changing your tone and attitude? I mean, it's understandable that you would be given like, are just living or in a straight world and having to do that. But like, I don't know. Should they be responsible for the way you change because of them?
It's like straight people in gay bars, right?
Yeah.
It's a different version of the same conversation.
Yeah.
You've justified queer spaces before as a necessary thing.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Oh, yeah, but I think another part of it then is like, what do people have to write their identity? Like at a gay bar, it's one of those things like,
I want to see your straight card.
Yeah.
Show me your dick.
Unless you're at a gay bar, like unless you're causing a ruckus.
Show me your underwear. If they're tighty whiteys, you have to go.
Yeah, if you're not wearing a jockstrap, you're not invited. Unless you're causing a ruckus, like you don't walk up to people and ask their identity, assume they belong. Like regardless of what they look like or who they are. Like, hey, you look kind of straight. Well, it's like
you can't just ask people why they're white.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like I don't know. Yeah, I think that it should be okay for allies to join, and all of that, like I think, is less compelling than just the idea of closeted people or questioning people exist, and it's helpful for them.
Yeah.
Another question. So one of the when I was looking at organizations, I did look specifically at Seattle, just because this is where I live, and I don't know, fuck off. There were multiple leagues. Like for multiple sports, there were 2 bowling leagues, there were 2 dodgeball leagues, there were 2 kickball leagues, there were 2 volleyball leagues. So like we have enough that we have multiple options of like it has gotten like I was so surprised at how big this thing is. Like we have enough that we have multiple bowling leagues that we can. There were some organizations that were nonprofit and some weren't, so that might be something to like look at to see like the idea of corporations, both kind of a corporatized group running this, and on Out Loud Sports, which again says
Out Loud
says they're the nation's original queer rec sports league. They, on their homepage, is this video of like a bunch of the gays that are in the sports league sitting around at McDonald's, and you play it, and it is an ad for McDonald's with them.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I didn't, and then part of me is like, get that money, like we should get like, we do this shit. We sell ads, we do this. So like, and that's also like
gayishpodcast@gmail.com. If you want us to schlep your shit for you, like
give us money and we'll promote anything. We have low standards on men and corporate sponsors.
Yep.
And like, but on the homepage, that was a lot. And I don't know. So like, what should the involvement of corporations be in these organizations, if any?
What should the role be in straight sports, right? Like every fucking NASCAR has Budweiser on the side of it, like just to sell straight people more beer because they like vroom vroom.
Yeah,
like that's
straight like beer.
Cargo crash, me drink beer,
life good. I think the arguments that I've been hearing around corporations and pride is partially like everyone says like, well, we need the money to fund this. And also other people, the counterpoint is like, you can walk down a street for free. Like you can go bowling, not for free, but like you can go bowling. You can play on like you can play softball. Like what money, like, do you need money? Yeah, I don't know, but you're right. Like straight things have corporate sponsors. So like,
and it pays for things like the uniforms and like traveling to fucking Las Vegas for the Sin City Classic and for like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe the bar tab. No,
and like, that's another thing, like consideration, I think, is if they're like, I'm guessing a lot of these places like have dues or like there's fees that are associated with it. And so I hope that given our rates, like, we tend to, and in particular, trans people tend to have less secure employment, like as a group, or maybe more likely to be homeless, maybe more likely to be lower income because of the hardships we face. Like I hope there's some kind of like scholarship policy available or something. So like if someone is low income or out of work or homeless or whatever, can still join these leagues and be a part of it. Like I would hope that there would be particular attention paid to the most vulnerable of the groups.
Yeah, that would be nice. I doubt it's true.
Pride Sports USA. I just wrote they have a bad website, so I think, but they are sponsored by clubs, bars. They have a drag race competition, which the fact that they had a bad website and a drag race competition, I was like, this is run by gays. I actually think this is like a actual community organization. That was my guess. I don't know, but they have the Gay Kickball World Series is what they do, and 25,000 plus players. So
there's an amateur drag competition for Seattle gay softball that I've been to before, where each team has one of them is a drag queen for a night, and they see how much money they can raise.
Oh yes, it would raise money for charities and stuff. That's really cool.
It's fucking great.
That's how I feel like that kind of thing is how you know it is actually local. Like giving to nonprofits and like having some things that fit in with the community, like doing drag race, like or drag competitions or things like that. I feel like that's genuine to our like history and who we are and what matters to local leagues.
Yep.
Yeah. So like, I don't think we answered any of these questions, and I don't think I know. But are gay leagues necessary?
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
100%.
Why is that?
Because I think, first of all, there's the one school of thought that we've become mainstream enough, and until we mix together, we won't be one big happy family. I understand that. That is a utopian future that is based on a reality that we do not currently live in.
Yep.
We are not there yet. Sorry.
Yep. Agreed.
And yeah, maybe that's
period.
Yeah. I only needed one.
Yeah. I mean, I do think the idea that gay is mainstream enough that we don't need these is also like, we have a spectrum of acceptability depending on your identity, and gay is amongst the most accepted these days. Still have laws being passed against teaching people about gay things, about gay books and stuff. So like, let's not pretend it's completely fine. But then you have the other end of the spectrum. We always mention the news, trans, non-binary, queer, especially youth are particularly under attack right now. So like, that's not something you could necessarily be comfortable, especially in sports, like knowing that having a safe place to go to do that is very valuable. Like, So you have to think of the whole breadth of our community, not just gay white men, and if they're comfortable doing it.
Yeah. I also think when they are no longer necessary, they will go away on their own. Why are you trying to rush that? Right?
They exist, so they're necessary.
Yes.
It's proof in and of itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like being a gay person, growing up in a straight society, being a gay person is an exercise in feeling like you don't belong.
Yeah.
And these things are successful because you feel like you belong.
Yeah.
If you also feel like you belong somewhere else, great. Go join a straight league, a non-queer league. Good for you. That's great.
Yeah. But
enough gay people want to be gay together doing this thing, belonging to this thing. This thing exists.
Yeah. I also think that like sports are just such a weird thing. I mentioned they're particularly homophobic, especially at the national, like the professional national ones is where we don't have really that many out people. But sports in general are homophobic. And growing up, there's this weird conflict of I might want to play sports and it's homophobic, and people assume that like the locker room, everyone assumes that gays love locker rooms, but the locker room we've talked about is terrifying as a kid. And I didn't want to be in a locker room. I wanted a separate, so I didn't want to take a shower anywhere near anyone. Like they were terrifying. So like so much of sports, am I worse than the other dudes? Am I going to prove how non-masculine I am by doing this sport? Like I was very bad at sports. And it's just this such a weird, unique, terrifying experience that to get to play with other LGBT people and feel included in this thing that you have never been included in is like a kind of a magical thing.
Yep.
I wanted to read, actually, I wrote down, I sometimes, especially things like we don't know anything. We came into this not knowing much. So I wanted to write down someone who actually like is involved in rec leagues. I found an Outsports article.
Boy, we should try to do this every episode, Kyle. Find somebody who does know what they're talking about.
I try to bring quotes of like, explain why a person who is, that identity, that thing. So apparently ESPN, there's an I don't know, sports talker, commentator, a sports onlooker that like, I don't know. Izzy,
Sportsologist.
sports famed sportsologist Izzy Gutierrez, who works for ESPN. He's on Around the Horn. No idea what the fuck that is. Said, quote, if you have trouble finding competitive sports base that you feel safe in, and then I'm abridging it, if you go to your local LGBTQ sports league and find a team of whatever sport you want to compete in, I highly encourage it. So there was like a shout out on a big ESPN show about LGBTQ leagues and an endorsement of it there. Alex Ramirez, the writer of this article, said that in 2016 they were adrift without a gay community and didn't have much of a social identity. So here's the kind of what they said about rec leagues. 7 years later, I know exactly who I am as a gay man, and the great friends I've met on the field are a big reason why. I didn't only find a space where I felt comfortable playing football, a game that terrified me as a kid. I found a family.
Aww.
So there's like a sense of it can be very much like if you don't know how to plug into your gay community, your local gay community. We get this question all the time, especially on Mom's Planning. Like, I moved to a new city. How do I meet people? What do I do?
Yeah.
If you don't have a plug into the LGBT community, this is a good way, one of the available avenues that you can kind of get an automatic hookup to groups and events and stuff going on.
Yeah. Yep.
So I think that's super useful. Like, it's not just about sports for sports sake. Like the value, like you're not going to get your LGBT family from a straight sports league, no matter how many gays are. Like, this is an avenue to gay life.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So yeah, I will agree that I think gay leagues are necessary and valuable, and I think you're right. The fact that they exist prove that they are needed.
Yeah. Did we do it?
Yeah, we did. But yo, let us know.
Yeah. Yo.
This was your doing, so let us know if we covered what you wanted to. God, there's so much drama involved in the history. I'm into that. Yeah.
Should we take a break and play some baseball or something?
Sports break.
Sports break. Oh God, no. Halftime.
2-minute
warning.
Sports reference.
This is the part where Mike and Kyle take a break.
So are we back?
No,
Oh.
but I see where you're at. Are we back?
No.
Fine.
Sit here quietly a little longer. We're back.
We're back.
We're going to do our Gayest, Straightest.
We're going to do our Gayest and Straightest. But first, Tree Fort.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow in Boise, Idaho. Start driving now. You might make it. It's Friday.
And listen to all of our back catalog on the road. It's going to be a fun, gayish weekend for you.
This is going to take you
So fucking long.
long time to get there.
Yeah.
It is Friday, March the 24th at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. You do not need a festival pass to attend. It is free and open to the public.
And you can see the gay podcast that goes on right before us, too. Because there are multiple gay podcasts.
Sloppy Seconds with Meatball and Big Dipper.
Yep.
Okay, I'll do it now. Local gay bar review.
Ooh.
I want to talk to you about Tantric, which is a bar in Singapore.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So I did not know that I had the courage to go to a gay bar in Singapore. They just overturned their sodomy laws this year.
Wow.
Despite that fact, there's been a more or less permitted underground, not that underground, but there's a gay part of town that has bars, but like the mental gymnastics of like, it's okay to be gay, just don't fuck. Here's some booze. We're okay with it. Like, it's just weird to me that they would like tolerate a gay drinking establishment, knowing that they have to know.
Yeah.
They're getting fucked up and doing each other in the butt.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, for sure.
went to Tantric Singapore, met a fraternity brother there.
Oh, cool.
And he and Marcy and I went and hung out at Tantric. And it was a weeknight. It was fairly early. The thing is, I bet that place is super duper fun. It just wasn't that night. We were like the only people in there.
Oh, no.
And it was adorable, but I can't give it more than 3 dildos because that was my experience.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say 3 dildos, but I have higher hopes that if I were there like on a Friday night
Yeah.
when there were other people there, it would probably be really fun.
Yeah.
It was kind of a classy, like classic place. Like they had these like overstuffed chairs and stuff like that.
Ooh.
It's really nice. I would hang out and drink there, except Singapore's fucking expensive, man. But yeah, that's Tantric. 3
Tantric.
dildos.
Tantric. our contact.
Oh, yeah. Our website is gayishpodcast.com.
We are on, our communities are mostly on the Facebook group, the Discord, and Spaces. So join us there. You can find all our contact stuff at gayishpodcast.com/contact.
Our hotline, you can send us text messages or leave us voicemails, is 585-5-GAYISH. That's 585-542-9474. Standard rate supply.
Leave us a voicemail if you want to.
Especially if it's for Momsplaining. We need some questions.
Oh, yeah. Send in some questions. Our email is gayishpodcast@gmail.com.
And our physical mailing address to which our birthday presents should be sent is Post Office Box 19882, Seattle, Washington, 98109.
My birthday is right around our podcast birthday, too.
Yeah, but don't try to double dip, Kyle. That's like
I'm trying. Here we are.
like those people whose birthdays are on Christmas. Like, I understand your life is hard, but you're getting one thing. Gayest and straightest?
Yeah, Gayest and straightest.
Okay, I'm gonna look and see while I'm not listening to you say yours. I'm gonna find listeners.
Okay, perfect. My gayest is in preparing for our travel this weekend. I went to the store, and one of the things I bought were little pink frosted cookies. And there's some things like, I just think little pink cookies are something that straight dudes would question whether, no matter, they are fucking delicious. Everyone's been eating them, but like, I still think straight people would, even in today's modern era of acceptance, like, I still think they would be like, am I gonna be in the checkout with little pink cookies? I don't know. So that was my gayest. And wonderful thing about being gay is I get to buy little pink cookies and not worry about it. My straightest is this weekend. Anytime we do this, I feel a little very schlubby. I like, other people actually like get dressed and wear cute clothes like a human adult might do, and I'm just in sweatpants the whole time.
Yeah,
Because I want to be.
Yeah,
and I get to.
Yeah,
and I am.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, the straightest thing about me this week is exactly what you just said. I have not showered or changed my clothes since Thursday. And it is Saturday now, everybody.
I am going to shower after this. That is a goal.
I even, like, I've now 2 nights in a row gotten fucked up and slept in my clothes. So I've, like, not even taken them off at all.
This is just your weekend uniform.
Yep. They probably would stand up by themselves now.
Oh, cool.
And then the gayest thing about me this week was getting hammered last night and putting a safety pin through my piercing.
Yeah,
it worked. It went through.
How long had it been since you pierced?
10 years.
Wow.
Easy. Like, since I even tried. I stopped wearing an earring when I started working for the fraternity. So I was 22. I'm 44 now. Like, I haven't regularly worn an earring for 20 years, more than 20 years. And I have a couple of times over the years, like, done I wonder if something would still go through there.
Yeah.
But I haven't done that in a long ass time.
That my straightest is yelling at you to challenge you, like, but then my gayest is I yelled, put it in, stick it through there, put it in.
And then you said, find a lighter. If you were like, because I was worried about the germs. You like, use a lighter and
just use a lighter and burn off the germs.
And then Keegan was like, just soak it in Fireball. I was like, oh my God, no.
And if we don't have a lighter, you can just turn on the stove. Just run it through there.
Jesus Christ.
The listeners' gayest?
Listeners' gayest or straightest. This comes to us from our Discord server. This is Dustmite. Straightest, raking my backyard and sweeping my patios. Gayest, listening to Britney, Beyonce, Doja, and Nicki while doing that.
Nice. Yeah. There's always like something gay going on in my headphones. Like, it doesn't matter what I'm doing or how straight it appears. It's like there's gay things happening between my ears.
Yeah,
I love that.
My ears, my legs,
my
crack,
my back,
whatever.
Thank you to Yost Ossel for requesting this episode.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it. And
thanks, Yo.
Hope you like it. And thank you to the dude that invented the high five that you told me about on the Patreon segment.
Oh, yeah. That boy gay.
Spunk me.
Yeah.
And thank you to the following Gap Bridgers. So I guess can also spunk me. Andrew Bugby, Christopher M., John Carley, Stephen Porch, Yost Ossel. Hey, that's the same guy.
Hi, guy.
Hey, Harry Shaw, Josh Copeland, Jonathan Montanus, Forrest Snail, Patrick Martin, James Barrow, Steve Douglas, Explosive Lasagna, Michael Covington, Jess Jamie, Kevin Henderson, Thomas B., Timothy Sora, Dusty Sanze, Coleman, Chris Cacciatorians, and Jerome York. Thank you.
Thank you. That's it. This has been Gayish from the Chris Cacciatorian Studios, sort of. I'm Mike Johnson.
I'm Kyle Getz. Until next week, be butch, be fabulous, be you.
Bye.
Sports.
It's a homer.
Ha ha he ha ha ho.